It is still dark, and the crowd is already awake. You can hear it from inside the scaffold timbers, a low murmur, like a sea. Thousands of them come to watch you work. In your hands is a sword almost too heavy to lift twice, and the whole craft comes down to one thing. You have to do it in one stroke. A clean death is the only mercy you have to sell. The day your hand shakes, the death becomes torture in front of all of them, and you will carry that face for the rest of your life. No one in that crowd would shake your hand. They have come to watch you. They will tell stories about you tonight, and not one of them would sit at your table, drink from your cup, or let their daughter marry your son. You are the most necessary man in the city and the most untouchable. You are Charles-Henri Sanson, and you did not choose any of this. You were born into it. The Sanson are a dynasty for generations. Father to son, your family has held the office of executioner of Paris, and the office is not a job you take. It is a curse you inherit. Other children are told what they might become. You were told what you already were. So run the two clocks, because they run for your whole life. One is the craft every stroke must be perfect, and the day it is not, a death becomes a torture you watch yourself commit. The other is the curse you are a Sanson, of a caste no one may touch, the hand of every regime and the friend of none. And one day, the revolution will put the king himself on your scaffold, hand you the rope, and make you the man who lets the blade fall on the neck of the King of France. Level 1. The two clocks. The first clock is in your hands, and it never stops. You are a craftsman, and your craft is death, which means there is a right way and a wrong way to do it, and the difference between them is somebody's agony. Do it well, and a man is gone before he knows the blade has moved. That is the mercy. The second clock is older than you. It is your blood. It was running before you were born, and it will not stop when you die. It will simply pass to your son. Level 2, born to it. To understand why you are cursed, you have to understand how a family becomes a thing no one will touch. The executioner does the necessary work of the state, but the work is killing, and the killing stains the hands. So over time, the man becomes the stain. The law shoves him out to the edge of the city, and there is one cruelty that turns a job into a dynasty. No respectable family will let a son or daughter marry into yours. So the executioner families marry each other. Sanson marries the daughter of another executioner. Their son marries the daughter of a third. The office and the curse are stitched together by blood across generations because no one else will have you. You were not raised to choose a trade. You were raised to be the next holder of the only marriage the world would allow your family to make. Other children are told what they might become. You were told what you already were. Level 3, the craft. Now learn the work, because the work is the whole reason the family exists. Before the machine, a death sentence in France was not one thing. It was a menu, and most of it was horror. The poor and the common were often broken on the wheel, laid out, their limbs shattered one by one with an iron bar, and then left, alive, woven through the spokes of a cartwheel raised on a pole, to die over hours or days in the open air. Against all of that, a clean beheading by sword was the kindest death the law could give, and it was reserved as a privilege for the high-born. And here is the thing only the skilled headsman could do, a single, perfect stroke of the great two-handed sword, so the man is gone in an instant. That is a rare skill, and it is yours. You are also the town's torturer when the court demands it, and the knacker who handles the dead animals no one else will touch. You are everything the city needs and cannot bear to look at. And in the villages, the same hands that kill are sometimes begged for cures. The executioner who knows the body, who sets bones and sells remedies, the feared man people creep to in the dark when they are desperate. Level 4, the weight. The craft has a price, and the price is paid in faces. You do not get to forget them. Every man and woman you have killed, you killed up close with your own hands. Looking at them, and they accumulate, year after year, a crowd inside you that no one else can see. You go home to a family the world has walled off, behind a name that closes every door in Paris. You are wealthy, the office pays, and the city pays the Sanson well to do what it will not name, and you are completely alone. The isolation is not a mood. It is a sentence served daily for a crime you did not commit, being born, and you cannot put it down. There is no resignation from this office, no door out. The only exit is to hand it to your son, which means the kindest thing the world will let you give your child is the same curse you were given. Level 5, the merciful machine. And here, in the middle of all this darkness, comes the strangest thing in your whole life, a chance to make death kinder. A physician and deputy named Joseph Ignace Guillotine stands up and argues that execution should be equal for everyone, noble and poor alike, and that it should be quick, a single mechanical stroke, painless, the same for a duke and a thief. And who do they turn to make it work? You. The most hated man in France becomes the expert consultant on mercy. You point out that a blade must fall with enough weight and the right angle. A German harpsichord maker in Paris named Tobias Schmidt builds the working machine, and you test it, and then you run it. For one strange, clean morning, your craft and actual mercy are the same thing. The man everyone despises has helped build the kindest death his country has ever offered. You have spent your life trying to make a single stroke perfect, and now there is a machine that makes it perfect every time. For a moment, you have won. And then the machine, which never tires and never misses, is handed to the revolution. Level 6, the king. The crown you were born to serve is gone. The revolution has swept it away, and it puts the king himself, Louis XVI, the living head of the state your office served on trial, and condemns him to death. And the death must be carried out by the royal executioner of Paris, by you. On the cold morning of the 21st of January, 1793, the king is brought to the great square, the Place de la Révolution, through a sea of soldiers and a crowd that has no end. You are waiting for him on the scaffold beside the machine you helped perfect. He tries to speak to the crowd. The drums are ordered to drown him out. And then it is simply your work, the work of your whole life, done one more time and the blade falls. And the man whose crown your family served for generations is dead by your hand. The most powerful man in France, killed by the most despised. You did not choose him. You never chose any of them. You were handed the king the way you were handed everyone, and you did the one thing your blood has always required. You made it clean. Level 7, the flood. After a king, there is no one the machine will not take. The trickle becomes a torrent. The reign of terror opens, and the guillotine on the Place de la Révolution stops being an event and becomes a routine day after day, batch after batch, the carts arriving full and leaving empty. In October, the Queen herself, Marie Antoinette, climbs the same steps, and you do that one too. Then the nobles, then the revolutionaries who made the terror and are now devoured by it, then anyone a tribunal names before noon. The machine you helped build for mercy for a single painless stroke, equal and quick, has become the most efficient killing tool the world has ever seen. Precisely because it is so merciful, it never tires, so neither can you. The records of your office count the dead in the thousands. You are no longer a craftsman giving a clean death to one man at the edge of a crowd. You are a hand on a lever all day, every day, feeding the most terrible appetite a government ever had. Level 8, what it costs. Count the cost now, because no one else will. You have killed a king, a queen, and thousands of strangers, and you chose none of them. Every single name was handed to you by a court, and your only freedom was the freedom to do it well. And the curse has not lifted an inch. The revolution that killed the king in the name of equality did not make the Sanson equal. You are still the unclean hand, still untouchable, still the man no one will thank. And the worst of it is the inheritance. Your son works beside you on the scaffold through the terror, learning the lever the way you learned the sword, because the office must pass, and the only thing you have to leave him is the curse that was left to you. Level 9, the last. The terror burns through its own makers and finally burns out. The men who filled your carts are themselves put in the carts. The worst of the killing ends. The machine slows. But nothing changes for you. The regimes have risen and fallen above your head. King, republic, terror, and through every one of them you have been the same thing. The hand that does the work, cursed before each of them, cursed after. You grow old as the most experienced executioner in the history of France, the man who has seen the state itself executed and rebuilt and executed again, always from the foot of the same scaffold. And when you finally lay the sword and the lever down, you do not hand them to the world that used you. You hand them, as your father handed them to you, to your son. The curse does not end. It only finds its next holder. Another life history for God is waiting. Subscribe.